What is good YouTube, JPR Tech here, and today I'm coming to you with a really quick tutorial how to get the best exposure to your Sony alpha mirrorless camera. Now a lot of people talk about using the compensation exposure dial down below, you know, the little numbers down at the bottom of the screen where they go minus and plus and 0 to show your exposure comp. Well, I'm here to tell you, ignore those numbers. Now bear with me as we go through the video. You'll see why you want to stop looking at that number and focus on the histogram. So let's go ahead and bring the histogram back up, and we'll see. We're going to compare the two in various scenes and see how much you can rely on the histogram over the comp exposure number. Now right here on the first scene, we have a decently lit control environment. And as you can see, the comp exposure is saying we're underexposing by 3 stops, but I believe we're underexposing by a lot more. As you can see from my shadows, they are all clipped. It's so dark. So I think we are underexposed a lot more than minus 0.3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take control of the scene, and I'm going to bring up my shadows by increasing the ISO so that I could bring the histogram more towards the center. And doing so, we're able to have more control over the shadows in post and have a well-balanced image. Now, according to the histogram, technically we are overexposing, but really we're not. We're okay. We're still good. And this is what you want to shoot with. Now heading outside, it's a similar story. We look at the exposure compensation, is saying that we're at 0, so it's supposed to be perfect exposure for this scene. But if we look at the zebras, the clouds are clipping quite a bit. So in this scene, I would actually want to protect my highlights. So I do have to change my aperture or my shutter speed in order to recover the blown out highlights. So again, with the histogram, we're able to get a better view of what's happening, but we still needed help from the zebras in this scene. All right, now let's take a look at the low light situation here, and we have ambient lighting around and whatnot, but the camera, as you can see, is saying that the exposure is underexposed by 0.3. But in my histogram, everything looks great. Shadows has nice data in there, and even my highlights are not clipping at all. There's a little dent down there on the corner, but that will not do anything. We still have a lot of details on the lamp area and the little light bulbs. So I believe with the histogram, this is a more reliable and truthful exposure. And for the second scene, we don't have any ambient light whatsoever. I'm just using natural dimness of the room. And it's pretty much a pretty dark room. Now the camera seems to tell us that we're underexposing by minus 0.3, and looking at the histogram, that seems to be right. So we're gonna adjust the brightness to try to get a more balanced view, and yeah, increasing the ISO up to where the histogram is nice and balanced. We see that the comp exposure is saying that we're overexposing by 0.7, which I believe that is not the case, because if we look at the zebras up at the edges of the plant, it seems to be okay. We're protecting all our highlights. We got shadow data there that we can bring up in post, and we're good. This is a perfect exposure. All right, and that's how we can get, in a pinch, how to get perfect exposure using our Sony alpha mirrorless camera. Of course, if you have more professional tools, such as an external monitor that even has false colors and other kind of tools and features that will help you get a better and more accurate color representation on the screen, then that's great, more power to you. But for the budget user that just have the camera, this is a really nice feature. Alright, so if you guys agree and you like this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up if you're into that stuff, and don't forget to hit the little bell to notify you when I have a future video, and I'll be seeing you guys on the next one. Peace.